Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and
How's it going, Paul?
yeah, I was going to say, how's it going?
It's traditional now.
It
Whichever one
is.
of us does the intro, the other one says, "How's it going?"
Mm.
And how is it going, my friend?
It's not going too bad, you know. I
Good.
realized, I realized that this week has absolutely flown by, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Once we decided on what we were doing this week, great. I'm really looking forward to Thursday, and I did not have to wait long. So, excuse me, be happy about that.
Well, we've already got pop culture in the chat saying, "How is everybody?" And let's face it, if you're going to let me talk about anything to do with the '80s, I'm going to be great in a lot of ways. But because the reason, and hey, Brew, I can see more people joining, because one of the reasons that we were talking about the idea of nostalgia mining, the idea that studios are going to go and start digging into our past. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, but they already are." And you're right, they already are. Except I've seen Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun 2 to everyone else. And oh my God, is it good? Also, it's making all of the money and then
Mm.
some. It's Tom Cruise's biggest opening by, I think, by 100% markup sort of thing. Like it's done twice the business of its next biggest opening weekend. So they're already at a quarter of a billion worldwide, more than I think they're heading towards 300 million at the moment. It'll be $1 billion movie probably.
Wow. Yeah, well that's good. It also is in some ways a kind of good rallying point for returning people back to the cinema as well. Just
Yeah,
as we're getting back more to normal, which is
and
great.
I wanted to ask you about that. I haven't asked Paul any of this before because I wanted to do this live on air. I
Oh.
think they made the right choice holding. Obviously, it's going to become very, very clear anytime we mention Top Gun Maverick that I think it's fabulous, and it's already straight into my list of here's why sequels aren't always crap.
Mhm.
But um, the fact that they waited and they waited and waited and waited, it's been 36 years. They waited a long time between movies, but they had it. We did an episode about this 2 years ago, and then the darkest timeline started thanks to a certain pandemic. But they hung on and they didn't go straight to streaming. They didn't release it in one of the small windows. They've waited until right people can come back, and particularly this has brought back the 40s and 50s and 60-year-olds who had been more reticent about going back to the cinema. So I think in a lot of ways, Top Gun Maverick it's the official restart of summer blockbuster season after a few years of troubling times.
Well, that's the thing. We did a show back about is the summer blockbuster dead, and this might have just come back and bite us on the ass a little bit. But so go watch that movie or go watch that video and tell us what you think. Is are they dead? Has Top Gun revigorated them? Um, just I think this is probably the biggest. I think sadly, I think like for you, Multiverse of Madness was probably the biggest like that. As in, like that was probably the return to form kind of thing of cinema. I think this is kind of uh returned kind of like blockbusters are now coming, as in like you're not gonna get the movies that we don't really care about kind of being released now in the proper order. I think we've returned back to the proper order of kind of like releasing things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things have learned the lesson from Tenant.
Yeah,
Because
it was the litmus test.
yeah, like I think although Tenant was a very odd movie, kind of like very I will say a little difficult to explain to anyone
It's a
without
hard
without
sell. It is a
without
hard sell.
yeah. But I think a lot of movies have learned from that, and some of them have taken it really far to heart, with like Top Gun, who's decided no, we'll wait for a full kind of like open up and everything like that, compared to like Dune, which did do really well as well, but did it closer. Like they postponed for like a year, and they even removed the dates from their posters and trailers and stuff. So yeah, I think Top Gun learned a big lesson, and then was just like let's be the return to form kind of movie,
And
which is great.
and they surprised the heck out of themselves with projections for their opening weekend at well under half of what they ended up doing. So, Top Gun, And remember, Tom Cruise doesn't have huge opening weekends. He's a movie star. He's not necessarily the biggest movie maker when it comes to money, but he's definitely a movie star. And his films do very well over longer periods of time, like by the numbers, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of cool that I can forgive Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness because it doesn't exist to me now that the two films I've seen since that, everybody should go and see. Top Gun Maverick and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Two favorite films of the year so far. And I have a funny feeling come December, I'll still be saying that. I will still be saying that they'll be some of my favorite movies. I can't imagine there's that much coming that's going to oust them. They're both high quality stuff. So yeah, cinema's back, baby.
Great. Real happy about it. I know once again my voice does not in any way portray happiness, but I'm real happy that the cinema is back because
this is Paul being happy, everyone.
Oh
this,
my god,
this
it's
is happy
so
Paul.
good. So happy. Yeah. I'm so happy. I saw that Pop Culture also mentioned that Dune also had the same day HBO Max release in the US. Yeah, but it did learn the lesson of kind of waiting a period of time. So, because I do think that Dune would not have done if they just released it on HBO release. Man, that would not have done well. Like I don't even care who was free. I don't think a lot of people who were just like I don't think the HBO Max streaming release would not have people go, I wonder what it was like. I wonder what it's like. You know, they wouldn't have been intrigued enough to go. So I'm happy that
it's definitely a big screen movie too. It's talk about going to another world, or in the case of Top Gun Maverick, going into hypersonic atmospheric flight. Almost giving away spoilers. Folks, we've got to move on from Top Gun.
Yeah.
Because it is only the impetus for this. It is not the entire thesis. They're coming for my money. Paul, they're coming for mine and yours. You're getting older too, buddy. It's happening to us all. But they want to get the 70s and 80s out of me, and they want to get the 80s and 90s out of you. So they are going to keep digging. They're going to keep finding things to put up. And we've thrown together a brief list of stuff that's got the green light already, as far as we can tell, and also a few things that are kind of probably going to start getting the green light, because now everything that's in a drawer or on a shelf or has been pushing for a green lighting, now that Top Gun's done the money, you're going to find people, and when I say people, I mean studio execs, are going to be a lot more willing to go, yeah, if we can capture that crowd, we can make some big dollar bills, y'all. I'm okay with that because I'll get a lot of stuff I like. And I know everybody's like, oh, stop rebooting my childhood. We've got a few picks, Paul, towards the end of this episode that are going to surprise some people as to what we would like ourselves. So stuff that we'd be happy if they rebooted or sequelized, if that's even a word.
Yeah. I think that's a good kind of, there's a couple of choices here that we're just like, I would like to see what they would do with it if they were to do it well. I will say though that I would be cautious in. I know that you're just like you're okay with getting what the nostalgia things about back what you get and stuff. I am cautious because there is cautionary tales of Footloose, which doesn't make sense to be remade, but was remade. And what do you call it? Also, Flatliners.
Flatliners, Point Break. Which you see, I can list all these as things that I haven't watched the remake of, because I've got that luxury now where I can find out in advance thanks to the internet. By the way, they've done a terrible job with that. And I'm like, cool, it doesn't exist to me. Yay!
But they do. That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
Just like Multiverse of Madness somewhere in another verse.
True.
But yeah, no, that's my only concern about this is as long as they do it well like they've done Top Gun, then I'm all on board for this. So yeah, let's get into some of the ones that we know are greenlit. I'm going to rely on which ones you want to call for on your side.
Okay. Well, Paul, what do you have? Escape from New York at hand?
I do. Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
Fire that one up on screen, because Kurt Russell, as longtime watchers of the show, is another one of my. When I was little, I wanted him to be one of my big brothers, along with Bruce Willis and a few others. I obviously had a type. I definitely think after Escape from LA, which was a follow-up to Escape from New York. Yeah, I know. I think this is one that in the right hands, it could actually work. And the way things are going, let's see. We've got the director who did The Invisible Man and Deadpool 2. No, not Deadpool 2, Upgrade.
He did Upgrade, yeah.
Which, for my money, and I haven't seen The Invisible Man, but I think Brew, who's watching right now, and you have seen it.
Yep.
And you both said it was okay, right?
Yeah. So Invisible Man is an interesting twist on the Invisible Man kind of thing, but it's a good one. Upgrade though is probably a real good choice in if you're a sci-fi fan, it's a real good choice.
Yeah.
So
that makes me think, if they can cast the right person as Snake Plissken and get the eye patch on the right person, probably, and this is going to sound horrible, but probably not his son, Kurt Russell's son, who was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No offense, dude. I'm sure you're not watching, but if you ever are, this is not personal. I'm just thinking, give this thing a chance, get a bigger name in there, maybe get somebody with a few more acting miles under their belt, and this one could work out.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I automatically was just like, who would I cast? I automatically went to Henry Cavill because I'm on a real big Henry Cavill buzz right now, but that's just me.
Well, he might appear any minute now. Actually, do you want to sashay over to my people, to the Highlander?
To the Highlanders, yes.
Well, Paul, you mentioned Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So Henry Cavill is you know more about The Witcher than I do, but The Witcher TV series or Netflix series that took Superman's Henry Cavill and really made him Geralt, as far as I could know as somebody who wasn't deep into it, seemed like they did a pretty good job from at least his perspective. I don't know if that's true or not. They definitely captured a look, let's say.
Yeah, no, they did a fairly good job as him as Geralt. Like, there's some choices that they've made which are, but fine, Yeah,
I understand what that means. So, look, you've got Chad Stahelski from John Wick fame directing this one, and I think producing it also. So, Highlander, again, huge part of my childhood. The Queen soundtrack, huge part of everybody's childhood, no matter what time you were born after Highlander came out, because it's Queen. I'm kind of digging the idea of more Highlander. I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, sure, all the sequels were rubbish, and, Mario Van Peebles this, and blah, blah, blah. All true. But Highlander's kind of a funky enough story that, yeah, you should be able to tell it every 40 years and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you ignore a lot of the prequel or sequels and sequel
all
prequels,
I would say,
start
again.
I definitely think that this is actually funny. This is one of the first ever films that I watched without any knowledge of what was like. As in, I went in completely cold of what Highlander was. I was never told that it's like, it's about a whole bunch of immortal warriors who like fight to the death. And by the way, Sean Connery is in it as a Italian or Spanish.
Yeah, he's called the Scottish guy called the Spaniard.
Yeah, Wishkas, and does not in any way, like he does in Red October, does not in any way try to put an accent on. And I was just like, this is awesome. Also, it has Thomas Jane in it.
Is Thomas Jane in it?
Oh no, wait, hang on.
No, it's Christopher Lambert.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so it is a Canadian playing a Scotsman, French Canadian.
Yeah, I always get for some reason Thomas Jane and him. Yeah,
they should have been in our swapped thing, because the guy who plays Kurgan in this was on my list. Him and MC Gainey, I swapped the two of them because they're both large and intimidating men.
That is true. Yeah, he was.
Which at the time, I think I said with an excess of cranium. They're guys with massive heads, and I didn't know a nice way to say it. So apologies for that previous video. I just mean that I'm intimidated by their bonds. Quickly moving on.
Yeah. It's. I think this is a good film for a reboot, especially if they do the dedication that they've done for Top Gun, and Top Gun like movies. So,
I think I said go for it. Paul, will we check the comments before we throw any more in? Because I'm assuming once we say it's okay to remake something, we're probably going to have elicited a reaction.
Yeah.
So let's have a little bit of a look. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome Gavin. Welcome one and all. Gavin, some great commentary lately, by the way. Thank you very much. Need to try to watch Dune again. Could not get into it at all.
You're dead to
cinema
me.
was cinema was the way to go. I gotta say, for me, the cinema made all the difference in that movie's case. Bring back cinema only releases. Brew, we're gonna get that t-shirt made, my man. Footloose and Red Dawn are ways not to understand the heart of the film. I
Yeah,
think I know where you're going with that. Yeah.
that was funny because we actually talked about how not that Footloose is not the way to go with this.
Yeah.
Because it was not done. And Red Dawn, man.
Yeah. Upgrade was fun, says Brew. Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
Invisible Man was a great one-time watch. Yeah, I've got to check it out. Miles Teller is Snake Plissken.
No.
Do you know? After what I saw in Top Gun, changed my mind about Miles Teller.
We'll see.
Transformative.
We'll see. Like, I haven't seen Top Gun yet. I'll see it this weekend. I'll post out if I believe that they should have been if he can play Snake Plissken, but
he mightn't be my first choice. Let's put it that way. But before seeing Top Gun Maverick, I wouldn't have even considered that. But Gavin, it's an interesting idea. Just started. Okay, making The Godfather. Highlander show needs to come back. Oh yes, Duncan rather than Connor. I watched it. I would prefer another really good movie with a lot of art and care and time taken than the inevitable style of TV show they would have gone for, or they would go for now.
Yeah. That's like what is it? Not First Contact. I know Conflict or something like that. It was a weird Saturday like sci-fi show.
There can be only one, but there's 47 of us every week. MGTV, welcome back. But I gotta say, I categorically disagree. Bill and Ted should have stayed in the 80s. Nah, good sequel for me.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was actually, and I think we may have even done an episode after that. Using it as an example.
We did, yeah. It was a good nostalgia sequel. Didn't go too far. It had its issues. It's not the perfect film, but it was good.
And Gavin gets us back on track with Escape from New York poster. Did it for me. Yeah. Escape from New York. It's just truly awesome. So, Paul, what's the next? What do we have? A little bit of Lost Boys?
Lost Boys, yes. Man, this is my child for some strange reason.
We'll throw it over to you then. Yeah, like I can see why. I kind of thought this might have been on your kind of 80s list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Did you know this already has a sequel? It has 2 sequels.
I had heard. I didn't know 2. I had heard there was a sequel, but
yeah, there's Lost Boys 2, and then there's Lost Boys 3, which is the frog about the Frog Brothers. The 2 vampire hunters in it. Yeah, it's about
the
them.
Corys.
Yeah,
Corey Feldman. Yeah.
It's essentially about them. But yeah, no, I'm really interested in this. I think a kind of a revamp of us is going to be really good. I don't know how I feel how you're going to like it. What's his name? He's in 24.
Kiefer Sutherland.
The
main bad.
Yeah. He's gonna be one of the most difficult people to recast for this. So I'd be interested in seeing who they get for him. Especially since they are going for a younger cast than what was portrayed in the original one. So I'd be interested to see how they go with Kiefer Sutherland's character.
Well, the people that we have up on screen there, that's Noah Jupe from Honey Boy, which great performance in that. And he is older now. We forget how long it takes to make and release a movie. And the same thing for your man Jaden Martell from It. These guys are growing up fast. So by the time this movie's made, they're in their mid-20s probably, or at least early 20s. So I'm interested to see how they fill out this whole cast. I'm with you. Lost Boys will depend not just on how they retell the story, it's how they cast it.
Yeah, because there's some interesting, like the grandfather's a real good character. I'd like to see who they would pick for him. There's certain characters that definitely makes this more nostalgic. So recasting them are key. So the mother is also the grandfather, Kiefer Sutherland's character, Sky as well. Those 4 characters are going to be very important to kind of pick who to kind of, I guess, recharge the nostalgia kind of thing.
I love it when I guess a movie that's going to really resonate with you. And I guessed of the list, I guessed Lost Boys was going to be the one to tag you. And funny, Highlander is definitely it for me in a lot of ways, but Spinal Tap, Paul. Spinal Tap is one that like everybody loves Spinal Tap, or else they haven't seen Spinal Tap. That's the way I see it. Some people that say they don't like it, I'm like, yeah, you were just in the wrong mood, because it's
Yeah.
a singular weird film. It is out on its own. Rob Reiner's a genius, and that whole cast, including Christopher Guest, who went on to do so many kind of mockumentary films, Mighty Wind and Best in Show, and the other one that actually made them money, which I can never remember right now. I love this style of movie, which they perfect. Like, it is one of the all-time great rock documentaries that is a mockumentary.
Yeah.
Why not do it again? Like, if they all want to come back, people are like, oh no, you'll ruin it. No, if these guys who they all say they want to come back and do it, and Rob Reiner's on board, that's a bunch of people who obviously had fun working together. If they want to have fun working together now, no matter what stage of their life they're in, I say do it. I will watch anything they put out. If it's terrible, it won't ruin the first movie for me. It'll just be a case of, it was great that those people got to work together and do what they wanted to.
Like, yeah, I like the idea of them trying to recapture that magic. I don't think there's certain elements of movies that I wouldn't think is good, which I wouldn't be like, let's not test the waters with this. Spinal Tap is one of those ones that I think if they tried and slightly failed, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think it would be just like, I'm glad you tried, because like there'll be a time when there's going to be a time in the future when they're going to remake Spinal Tap or try to, and and it's not going to have any of the original people in it. So I'm like, might as well try something now with the original cast and see what we can do.
Right. That's what's key for me. They want to do it, they can do it. If anybody else ever wants to do it again after that, hands off. Paul, I know I said Spinal Tap was me, and I know we've only got a couple of minutes, so let's do the Fall Guy real quick, if that's okay.
Sure.
Because the Fall Guy, for anybody who doesn't remember the Fall Guy is a TV show. TV show about, and I love this sentence, it's about a stuntman who moonlights as a bounty hunter. So he brings in bail jumpers when he's not doing cool ass stunts with his wicked ass truck and his kind of understudy who is obviously supposed to be a pretty boy but a bit of a dope. So you got Colt Seavers and Howie, his sidekick.
Howie,
love this show so much.
Is Howie Face from
No, it's not Dirk Benedict. No, he is. They got a lot of the same casting calls at the time, I would say. Yeah. I'm down for this, because this is one of those ones, like they're talking about, I think they're talking about Ryan Gosling. No, Ryan Gosling's not for this.
No, Ryan
Who did
Gosling.
I hear for this?
Yeah, Rosling.
Was it
Ryan,
for this?
Yeah.
Like, you can do this, take it seriously. You can do this, take the mickey. You can do this any way you want. As long as the only thing they don't recast is the truck, then I'm fine. The original truck are nothing for me.
Yeah, and they're thinking of David Lynch from Deadpool 2. That's the director.
That's David Leitch's movie on this list.
That's
okay.
The one.
I say have fun, make an action movie. It could be great.
Like, well, that's we've also mentioned this a couple of times in some of our other videos as well. I think it was to do with vehicles, one of the best vehicle introductions, or
I'm loving that truck. I think I've slid it into the channel once or twice.
It's a great one. So okay. So which goes, we're going to be back in a couple of seconds. Which goes just as we change over, because Zoom is now become a absolute nightmare. So
hang on in there, and we'll see you on the other side.
See you in a bit. Hey, how's it going? Couple more minutes, couple of seconds there.
Quick draw McGraw. This is slick, well oiled. Well oiled. I like it.
Like a Formula One pit team.
That's it. Paul, we just talked Fall Guy.
Mhm.
What is left that we know is on the list of what they're doing?
So we've got which goes we've got Weird Al. Yeah,
This one,
this
this is
one's
interesting.
this is really interesting because when I found out about who was going to play him, man, I got really excited for some strange reason.
It's Danny Radcliffe, everybody. Daniel Radcliffe, who is to most people Harry Potter,
Hmm.
but because I wasn't into Harry Potter, to me he's the kid in Harry Potter, but then a bunch of weird films ever since. And I've seen him do Samuel Beckett stage play stuff as well. He's an incredibly good little dude, and he's not little anymore. And if I had to cast Weird Al Yankovic, I would not have been able to pick anybody. I would have thought for hours and not come up with anybody. But if somebody had said Daniel Radcliffe, I would have gone, yes, that's genius. So I'm so glad.
Like, yeah, like it's one of those things that Elijah Wood could have been my pick just because he's been doing a kind of a lot of weirder items nowadays. But yeah, like Daniel. Once I heard about Daniel Radcliffe, because I know he's been trying a couple of new things as well, I was just like, this is going to be deadly. I can't wait
Yeah.
for this kind of thing. But yeah, like Daniel
And,
Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic, that's going to be fun.
and let's face it, talk about mining our mining the 80s, mining my childhood in a lot of ways. Weird Al started in the 70s. So he was there the whole way with me. I am not above saying that I still impress myself in the shower when I manage to change the lyrics to songs that I'm singing. And it's a little bit of what Weird Al taught me. I haven't learned the accordion, but I have learned the skill of messing with song lyrics to make other funny songs to the same lyrical beat. I loved Weird Al when I was younger. He's still around today. I think uh, this can't really go wrong because you're going to be telling either the real story, which is going to be scary, or doing a bit of creative license or artistic license and telling the story that people think would have been his life. I don't care. It's probably going to be entertaining either way.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing. Yeah, I think with Weird Al being involved in it quite heavily, I think this is going to be a really good kind of. I think it's going to be a quirky film. Like not even just because it's Weird Al, but I think it's because his direct involvement and stuff like that. I think it's going to bring a lot of funness to it. His parody songs are just amazing. So like I can't wait to see them done by I guess Daniel Radcliffe.
I
Which
love it. I love the way you just said that.
yeah, it is weird to say like because the only two films I've seen him in so far is Guns Akimbo and Horns. They're the only two films that I've seen. I need to see was Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
But oh, man, it already sounds weird.
I think it's cool. And you know what? I think Weird Al and Daniel Radcliffe, again, my brain just went, this is one that might have spurred some comments. So will we take a little sojourn for a moment? Check into them comments if you're up for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Bill and Ted. Okay, so Escape from. Okay, here's where MG. Why can't Hollywood make something original? Why does everything have to be a remake or sequel? I would say that everything isn't. I think it's just part of the grand landscape. I understand the frustration and the sentiment. I do think that original stories need to be told, but having seen Everything Everywhere All at Once very recently, and Men is coming out soon, people are still making originals. It's about what's actually making the money. And in that case, I wouldn't even say it's sequels or remakes. It's comic book adaptations have been making the money for the last generation.
Yeah.
So like I do understand the frustration though. I hear what you're saying, but look deep, look hard, and there's plenty of good stuff in there. It mightn't be getting the front page news. Spinal Tap is pure gold. Brew, not surprised you liked it, dude. Not surprised at all. And yes, Spinal Tap did tour for a while. I can see some notes there.
Just on the remake thing, I also believe that a lot of the remakes or kind of sequel things are all to do with the product or the licensing, copyright licensing and stuff like that comes up a lot. Disney does that a lot.
Yeah. And MG gets a response from pop culture there. It's great to see you guys talking to each other in the comments. Absolutely, A Star Is Born is a great example of more things are remakes than people ever realize. Also, how many to your point, Paul, how many variations of Dracula are we ever going to get? Or the Nosferatu story?
Oh man,
It's yeah. So once you become public domain, you're even more up for it.
we're still
Fall Guy
waiting.
flashbacks. Sorry.
Still waiting for that David. What is it? David Copperfield or the what's his name? The guy who escaped, the magician who keeps escaping from stuff. You
Oh,
know the
David Blaine, Blaine
no
or Copperfield?
older.
Then it's Copperfield, I think.
This Houdini, the Houdini film.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I know, and I
Yeah,
thought you were saying they were going to make another Dracula. Yes, we're still
no,
waiting for the Houdini.
no, as in yeah, that's the other thing. Once it becomes in public domain, every studio now has a script of some one of those things that's hidden away, just waiting for someone else's market department just to be kicking things off.
For anybody who's been watching us since the very, very start, we talked about specifically Houdini in one of our first, I don't know, it's one of our first couple of dozen videos. The fact that every studio has a Houdini script in the drawer, it's mutually assured destruction. They're all waiting. If one of them pulls it, they'll all pull it. It was the Twin Movies one, I think.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. It's talking about the marketing spend and stuff like that. So,
yeah. So you could get 7 Houdini films if anybody ever tries to go ahead with one.
Was the film Place in Pines with Ryan Gosling similar to The Fall Guy in a way?
He played a stuntman, and he wore some cool jackets. Other than that, I got to say, Fall Guy is a lot more of a lighter tone than Beyond the Pines or Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah.
But I like the crossover there. I like where your mind's at.
This is interesting. Just spotted on Twitter that Christopher Landon is set to write and direct an Arachnophobia remake for
Amblin.
Yeah, this is interesting because you might see that movie later on.
Goody.
It took me 20 years to get over that film. I'll tell you now, John Goodman in that film he's just fantastic. And constantly, if you really want to kind of cross the streams, the main character in that is also the main character in Newsroom, and their ages really line up. So you could have the fact that your man then left his doctorship and became a news anchor if you really wanted to cross the streams and kind of
Jeff Daniels went from Spiders to Network News.
Yeah.
I love it. We're going to get the wall on our red twine, and we're going to connect as many TV shows and movie universes together that aren't already connected someday. And I fear that Halloween will weave in and out of it at every point.
Yeah.
We've got a few comments. So he does look like Weird Al. Yeah, fair play to Radcliffe. I can see arachnophobia is messed me up too. Pop Culture says we're getting 2 Pinocchio films this year. Yeah, and I've recently watched the trailer for what I'm going to call the Tom Hanks one, which will be the most successful one.
Not the Tim Burton one, not that.
I think we've all been down that route with me and Tim before. We can part ways very hard sometimes. And the last one, Gavin says, do you think TV shows are better than films for originality? I think it is maybe less of a risk. It's an interesting one because there is the idea of theatrical releases made out of what were Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening TV shows. So you had your Dukes of Hazzards and your A-Teams and all the rest. Nobody's really done a proper Knight Rider movie yet. I'm sure somebody's going to have a go.
Yeah, we've had But just on that, I think it's also easier to be original in long form than it is on short form. I think that's the thing. I think you can spread because original story. There's no original stories really. They're essentially all derived of essentially 12 different base stories. But you can make it, the setting and everything like that, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more involved in a long form setting than you can in a short form setting. I think a lot of writers, especially a lot of new writers, will go for TV shows first before they start bringing original ideas to the film industry. Though if Zack Snyder has anything to do about it, we'll spend years in the cinema just to get through our films.
Shots fired. Paul, what about the other ones that we know have been talked about? We have just a couple of quick mentions because I'm dying to get to hear your picks for what you'd like.
Yeah,
so can we get the other stuff out of the way first?
Yes.
What have you got there?
So the three that's been talked about are War Games, which will be an interesting one, especially in this current day and age. Which is American Werewolf in London, which may I just say is a fantastic choice. But I do not know how they're going to do the transformation idea. And then
Yeah,
Flight of the Navigator.
yeah, and here's the thing on all three of these war games. Awesome. I think this could be a great remake in a different way. You know, you don't even have to call it war games. Take the underlying plot and subplots, transfer them into a modern day movie. Different technology now, a very creative scriptwriter, and then somebody very very good when it comes to screenplays could make this work in the modern world. Flight of the Navigator. Rumors are that it's Bryce Dallas Howard may get her big shot at the chair for this one. I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. And American Werewolf in London, one of the films that formed me as a child. Stay off the moors. Um, look, I know I'm going to get this out there. It was supposed to be Max Landis directing it. His dad, John Landis, did it. Max Landis, by all accounts, is a bit of a sex pest. So, you know, we're not including him in this. This is more that somebody may still get to remake this someday. They did do an American Werewolf in Paris at one
Yeah,
stage, I think, as the follow up. I never watched it because, again, I try and avoid anything that people tell me is crap and might ruin something I like.
well, you know, they're right.
It wasn't good.
Uh,
All right. Okay.
it's an interesting. It's one of those ones. Get a couple of beers and stuff like that, and you
Okay.
know, if you're of age and drink. So some of the other things that we have been like, so some of the other things that have been talked about, and also we have obviously gotten our Top Gun one. We've also recently got Scream. Scream had not a remake, but had its a more up to date sequel, kind of thing, or a soft reboot as they call them now. Which goes, there is talks about the Goonies being remade, which goes, these are so Goonies and Back to the Future are ones that have been talked about but have not been given the green light and are staunched against being actually remade. Kind of thing.
I
So
will say that I will take a Goonies sequel if they take myself and Paul's private
yeah,
chat, because we had a very long chat once about how you could do a Goonies sequel.
yes.
And it could actually be great, but please don't remake that, or especially Back to the Future.
Yeah, well, Back to the Future, I don't see why. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's already getting notoriety in current pop culture by having like references in A Million Ways to Die in the West and a couple of other kind of like, you know, which goes stand-in kind of cameo things. So I don't see why people should. I don't think we need a full-on fourth film kind of thing. I also, where would you go with it? But yeah, so they're the
If
other things.
if they ever do announce it, though, I promise, Paul, and we should make this promise together. I promise that I'm up for doing an episode where we recast it, rewrite it, and do the most important thing: replace the DeLorean with what?
Yeah,
That's the problem with making Back to the Future these days, because my little car person brain might just explode all over the camera.
yeah, that'll be an interesting which gets exercise just for you to be just naming cars that could replace the DeLorean, and then me furiously looking them up and going,
Might make for good TV.
oh no, that's a real cool one. No, and then showing the picture kind of thing. No, it'll be excellent. I'd really like to actually, let's do that. We'll do.
No, it's at some stage over the summer we'll give that one a go.
No, I'll be interested in that one. So yeah, so now it's on to our ideas. Ones that we wouldn't mind, or ones that we would like to see happen. Now, which ones of us do we want to go first? I haven't put it up yet, though. Like I haven't.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Paul knows mine, so I can go first.
I only
and you
know
can be
one
the
of
big
yours.
surprise. Okay, well, you can throw up. Have you got them both as
Yeah, I got
images
them
together?
both up. Yeah, I just put them up there, and I.
Okay. Well, I'll make my case, Paul. I
Okay.
think these two stories are worth having another go at, or even extending from. I think either could work. Quantum Leap in particular, I would love a theatrical movie. I would love the proper Hollywood treatment with all of the emotion that we're not afraid to put into movies now. Because there was a time when sci-fi had to either be silly or dark. Now people aren't afraid to make sci-fi properly emotional, proper drama when it comes to sci-fi. And I think Quantum Leap as a TV show, it was as a TV show able to do that way back when. I would love if somebody does remake it, that either they get Scott Bakula to play Dean Stockwell's role, or just have at some stage have one of the jumps that whoever your new protagonist is, have him see Scott Bakula in another timeline.
That'll be great.
It would tear me up.
That'll be it'll be a good. So first of all, it'll be a great like tip of the hat, but also it'll be real bad because we all know how that Quantum Leap ends. Keeps on, you know.
Another reason to make a movie. For anybody who doesn't know Quantum Leap, please go look it up. The very simple one-liner on Quantum Leap is there's a guy who is kind of jumping through time and doing good things along the way to get his next jump to happen. He can't control it, and he's just hoping that the next jump will be the jump home. That was the tagline.
There's a real good super cut of Quantum Leap, which is it's the introduction and the outro have been cut out. And you know how when he leaps it from an episode in so when he at the end of the episode he leaps and it gives you a little bit of tip of what's going to happen in the next one. They cut that out as well. So when he just leaps directly into the next episode. So it's a super cut of 4 or 5 seasons of this Quantum Leap. It's so long. It's 30 something hours long or something. Or no, it's way more than that. Way more than that. But yeah.
Oh, you know what? I could sit down and watch 30 hours of Quantum Leap because I loved it so much. Anybody who hasn't seen it, you should check it out. For me, it's still classic sci-fi. A lot of people don't think of this stuff as sci-fi. It really is. Last Starfighter, on the other hand, both myself and Paul are pretty public about our feelings on this one. We've done a whole rapid review of it just to make sure that people knew what it was. Check that out if you want a synopsis. But here's my reasoning for why this could, should, or I'd want it to be done. Again, it can be done as a reboot. It can be done as a sequel. We have some sequel ideas, both myself and Paul again have already written the sequel for this. So if you're going to do it, you know our email address.
You're right. Right here.
Right, exactly. If they wanted to reboot it, I think it'd be fine because you got somebody. It's your King Arthur tale. It's classic movie making. It's classic movie story, I should say, and I think it's as a counterpoint to things like Star Wars. I think it was so much more of a little personal story, the single hero's journey rather than the epic hero's tale. And I think with a bit of care and attention, this thing could be a massive, massive hit and not just on nostalgia.
No, I think you're right. I think this could have been this could be essentially the start of I already know that Dune is going for the Star Wars kind of
the mantle,
yeah. But I think the Last Starfighter could be another one of those contenders if written right, kind of thing. You could have the Last Starfighter start a universe that could be an absolute pleasure to deal with and get to see some new stories in. I know that Obi-Wan Kenobi is out currently, but it's just they're wasting their time with Star Wars stories now. But I think the Last Starfighter could be a really good one. I'm
down with that.
All right, so
hit me, brother.
I have a load of these.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
shoot.
Let's go through these. I know that you have a 30-second delay, so what I'll do is I'll go through the first one, which I think you might have thoughts about. Batteries not included.
It was on my short list. It was on my short list.
Yeah.
How did you know?
I would like to see them redo battery, either do a good sequel or do an amazing reboot of Batteries Not Included. There is
sold
amazing actors out there that have now the whole kind of niceness of Batteries Not Included was that the building was dilapidated and also the people in it were so lovely and they were all golden age and silver age stars. So I think we've moved on enough that we can have our own silver and golden age stars now playing members of the apartment blocks, which would be fantastic to see. Another one that I'd like to see is 13 Ghosts. The reason for this is because 13 Ghosts is already a remake of an old film of obviously the same name. The old film used to give out glasses that you could see ghosts walking around in the movies, but if you took them off, you couldn't see them. They were like
Wow.
rotoscoped in, but it was done in like the like 40 like 50s or something like that. So it was like basic
Wicked.
technology kind of thing. And in the newest form of the movie, they've incorporated the glasses as part of the kind of storyline. I would like to see them essentially try something new again with that. They've seemed to have, because like 13 Ghosts was also a very 3D esque film. They did a lot of 3D technology for it. So I'd like to see what they would do next in the kind of 3D technology kind of world and what other gimmicks they could put onto it.
Dude, augmented reality, you could melt somebody's mind these days. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The Never-Ending Story. I think we're due that back a little bit. I think we've gotten the Dark Crystal. This can be done in a TV form or in a film. But we got the Dark Crystal back. Which is I don't know if the talks about the Labyrinth has also been the Labyrinth kind of reboot is ever going to go on. Especially with the sad passing of David Bowie. So yeah, I think the Never Ending Story could be a really good one. Weird Science
was on my short list too.
Yeah.
That was the big smile when I saw when the screen came up for me. I'm like, he's picked two of mine as well.
So yes, Weird Science I think would be a really good one to do, just because it's a classic kind of like coming of age, weird, nerdy kind of thing. And I don't agree that Attack of the Nerds should ever be made which could say a new one. So yeah, so my thing is Weird Science, Arachnophobia. So I'm glad that was on someone else's list, someone who has the chops to be able to actually write it. Yeah, I'm happy for that. I know that my partner would be in no way happy about that being redone. She is.
I may not watch it if they remake it. I'll be honest. I think I might be done with being frightened of the underneath of my toilet bowl.
Oh, it's gonna be great! I can't wait. I really can't wait. I love it. And so this is the thing: Starship Troopers. Now the reason I like to see Starship Troopers remade is not because I think that this one is bad or anything like that. The original book, also under the same name, Starship Troopers, was a huge, big anti-militaristic kind of thing, and I would like them to stay more in tune with the actual book this time, rather than like as in. I don't want them to touch Starship Troopers. It already has two awful sequels that are part of it. It does have a spin-off TV show for kids called The Roughnecks, which is great as well. But I'd like to see Starship Troopers remade more closer to the source material, I guess, and see what they could do with that as well. That's where my remake of that comes in, you know.
Gotcha. Is that it? Because I know
that's
that. It. Okay, because I think the 13 Ghosts thing intrigues me just because there's one to kind of remake because modern technology could really mess with people in another way.
Yeah.
I've also, and I have to do this. I'm sorry, I've never said Never Ending Story without singing the name of it. So if you ever get me to say it again, you'll find I will go into song. But my favorite pick of all that, because I did have Weird Science on the list, but Battery's not included. Oh yes.
Yeah.
It could be done as a reboot or even a sequel, and stick with the fact that you're not afraid to have comedically laughable bad guys and just huge amounts of heart. Because that's what it was. It was a big pumping heart of a movie. So I love those picks. Absolutely love those picks. Paul, I don't know how we're doing in time, but can we go to the comments before we go to wrap up?
Oh yeah, we can definitely go to the comments.
Okay, groovy. Well then, while you do your thing on your side, I will throw back. I'm kind of lost where we were. Okay, The Fugitive needs a remake from pop culture. I think how social media plays with them on the run would be a great aspect for that story. Absolutely.
That's a great, probably not thought of aspect of probably if they ever do a remake. They'll probably just set it in the 90s again.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but Gavin is obviously messing here with Ford Transit for Back to the Future. Do you know, anything is possible. And Gavin, aren't you a very funny lad altogether, as we'd say around here? I love it. Beef King Salad. Love the username. took me a moment to read it correctly. The company is building a DeLorean EV. Yeah, this week the guys doing DeLorean have announced an EV that I will believe when I see. So yeah, they're coming back as an EV company, that's for sure. The Crow was supposed to be getting a remake with the guy from ES, and I think we've talked about that in the channel before because you've probably seen stuff behind me at some stage that gives away that I'm quite the Crow fan.
Also, like The Crow is now up on Netflix as well.
Yeah, Netflix actually told me. It was one of those things. Netflix knows me well enough that it actually sent me a message going the Crow, and I was weirded out by it. Going, really? They must be listening.
Makes sense.
Or else they watch the channel.
It's the Skarsgård. Is he's gonna be the guy who's gonna do it, or is it their director?
Yeah. I think it might be the director.
Okay,
or maybe younger Skarsgård. I can never remember which one's which. Who did it? Maybe. But I don't know. I'm staying away from it because I've been burned by Crow sequels and adaptations before. There was only one for me. I think The Crow was cursed. They should leave it alone. I kind of know what you mean there.
Would Quantum Leap work as a movie? It could only have a couple of leaps in it. So you could. So I'll try. You could have it as in it is a rescue mission. That it ends up that you have like that as in a person leaps to help out your man and they end up leaping together for a couple of things, trying to find each other again, kind of thing, as a kind of an interesting storyline. That's just me.
Yep. Anything is possible, but I do understand the restriction of time if you did it as a movie. I know what you mean, but as Paul just pointed out, clever writers can do just about anything. Excuse my hiccups. Starship Troopers is a great call, Paul. There you go. And same thing, never ending story.
Yeah.
Yes, never ending story.
Starship Troopers is a classic for me. I can't agree with a remake of the film. A remake of the book I could get behind. Yeah, that's my more. I don't want to remake the film that's already been done. They've already taken us. They actually glorified a lot of militarization and stuff like that. No, it wouldn't be. It would be essentially redoing the book. That's why I'd be closer to the source material. So.
And it's funny for me. Starship Troopers is one of those kind of it's RoboCop essentially again, where its satire is possibly hidden a little too deep for the tone that the movie ends up landing, because it really is taking the piss out of itself as it's going along. But I'd be really interested in, because I haven't read the book, I'd be really interested in a remake that's more faithful. Similarly, I would love a remake of, I'd actually like to see, it's not a remake, I think The Running Man, because The Fugitive made me think of it. You could actually do The Running Man and call it The Fugitive. And if you stuck to the original Stephen King script, or book, you'd be away. People are digging your 13 Ghosts idea, as am I, now that you've made me think of it. And Gavin says, with the inevitable return of 3D with Avatar, it's possible with 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think if anyone doesn't know about 13 Ghosts' original movie and the things that they did with it, check it out. It's a really interesting rotoscope idea that they did. So yeah.
Groovy. And we're due for a return to the Western genre very soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may have already started, and I see that Pop Culture has mentioned that. Yeah. I think it possibly has, and I'm looking forward to that wave. Because I don't think anything should ever go away. No. I'm fine with everything always coming back. I'm not okay with bad. I'm always okay with good. Do it with love and care. You can get it right. It can be musical, Western, remake, reboot, or sequel. Bad ones are bad ones. Good ones are good ones.
Just on Pop Culture's last one, I'd like to see the Shadow movie with Alec Baldwin, which goes possibly remade. I would like to see, this is in like solidarity, Shadow, The Phantom, and also there was another one that I had in my head there, Darkman. Yeah.
The three of those, and again, you can't say The Shadow without me doing the thing. The Shadow knows. It was such a weird line reading. But for me, out of that list, The Phantom.
Yeah.
Wow, with Billy Zane, Phantom, proper purple spandex from proper Saturday morning cartoon time.
Yeah.
I would dig that. And you can probably leave The Rocketeer alone.
Yeah, I think so.
Give The Rocketeer a go if you want, but maybe Phantom's turns first.
Yeah. Phantom, Shadow, and which could Dark Man maybe goes first before the Rocket Man. So
because the shadow does no. Sorry, dude. Anyway, I'm ruining Paul's YouTube channel. Let's pull this one together because I feel like I'm distancing myself from my own actions.
Thanks very much for everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Once again, we are trying to go for 500 this year, 500 subscribers for this year. So if you can help us out by sharing this out and getting your family and friends to like us and subscribe to us, even if they don't care, just get them to subscribe. Which is let us know then in the comments also some of your topics that may have not been mentioned before that you would like to see remade, like to the level that Top Gear 2 Maverick got to be done, which goes and then tell us what you think of our art picks as well. That'll be great. I'd also like to think Beef King Salad is actually part of the duo It Takes Two, so check them out on any of your podcast items. So Gavin just got in there under the wire with Spawn being remade. Yeah, it could be good.
I don't know if it is, and the John Leguizamo Spawn left me cold. I know it's a bit of a cult classic for others, but didn't work for me.
Yeah, I get that. I like it, but I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, we've one more thing to pump, and that is Paul. Paul is off moonlighting, much like Colt Seavers was in Fall Guy, where his day job might be here out, but at night he is, or vice versa, he's with a roving band of crazy people who do D&D and drinks. It's called Homebrew Quest. That's your search term for YouTube, people. It's also in the description down below. It's a good old link. So get yourself over there to see more of what Paul does and learn you some D&D if you don't know it, because it's an easy way to find out what it's all about and have some fun with some creative people. And if you're into it, strap in. It is, I'm going to say it's like nothing I've watched before because I haven't watched enough D&D stuff, Paul. But you guys seem pretty unique to me.
I thought it was going to be like, you're terrible. No.
No. I only say that about our stuff. That's anytime.
I think we do all right. I think we do okay. You know,
well, nobody's asked for a refund. Thank God it's free.
Our little mum and like ma and pa entertainment channel. You know.
Yeah. Well, Pa, it's time to say goodnight. I took Ma there for you.
I know. I wanted Ma.
You can have Ma. There you go. There's a clip. Stick that one up somewhere. If you would like to help us out, like Paul says, but most of all, for me, if you can, get into the comments down below on any of our videos. We love hearing from you guys. It does help our analytics. But really, it's about hearing from y'all. So to those of you watching in the future, welcome. To those of you watching tonight, thank you so much.
Also, the people who are watching like in VOD form and got this far, yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Well done, people. All right, Paul. On that note, I have been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And we've been Heroes Out. See you next time.